I have officially given up hope that I'm ever going to make a TBR that is actually like within reasonable size and achievable, because every single month I say, hey, this is a big TBR and this is really ambitious and probably completely unachievable, but do I ever learn? No. No, I do not. Hi guys, my name is Kirsty and welcome to Upside Down Books. Today I am going to be sharing with you my, as usual, ambitious TBR. This is my TBR for the month of November. I am so excited that it's November. You have no idea. I'm so excited. That means we are like 1 month out from Christmas. However, I have quite a few books that I want to get around to. Obviously, who doesn't? But my TBR just kept getting bigger every time I made it, you know? I was sitting down thinking, hey, what am I gonna read in November? For the first time in ages, I just feel like I haven't had a particular set of books that I've really wanted to finish. In September, I was trying to finish off series. In October, I was participating in readathons. But in November, what am I going to do in November? Well, my original plan was to start the month off with a bang and read Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie in preparation for the film. But it turns out that I don't actually own that book. I don't know what happened. I was so sure that I owned Murder on the Orient Express, but alas, I do not. And so I have decided that instead of buying the book to read it, I'm just going to go and watch the film without reading it. Which I feel like is a really bad decision. But considering how many books I have on my bookshelf unread, I feel like there's just no point buying an Agatha Christie just to read it before the film. That's my reasoning. There are 10, potentially 11 books on my November TBR. Somebody send help. However, I'm feeling like it's slightly okay because I am participating in one readathon in November and I am finishing off one, maybe 2 books. So currently, I am reading Dragon Champion by E.E. Knight. This was the last book I finished off the Alphabathon readathon round 4 with, and I didn't quite finish it. And I meant to sit down like yesterday and today and finish it, but it's like 4:30 in the afternoon, and have I read a single page? No, I have not. Readathon slumping. I still have just under like, I don't know, I still have like 250 pages or so of this to read, and I don't know if I'm going to finish it off tonight. I'd really like to finish it off tonight, but I've recently downloaded the game Animal Crossing on my phone and I'm spending hours playing that game on it because it's addictive. So if I don't get to that one, we will be starting this one off as a sort of rollover book. But moving on to Kirsty's official TBR for November 2017. The first book on this list is going to be Inkspell by Cornelia Funk. What, hey, hasn't this been on my TBR for the last 2 months? Why, yes it has. This was supposed to be a series I finished in series September when I did that, but I did not get around to all the books. I am about 200 pages away from finishing the book. I had to put it down because when I started readathons last month, the first thing I'll be doing after finishing Dragon Champion will be to finally finish reading Inkspell. I'm actually really enjoying it. It was kind of a little slow to start with, but it started to get really good again, so I'm looking forward to finding out what Meggie gets up to in her adventures in the ink world. The next book that I will be reading, considering that I actually own this movie adaptation, will be Wonder by R.J. Palacio. The movie's coming out right at the start of November, so I'm planning on reading this within the first week so that I have read it before I go and watch the film, which I'm very excited about. It has Julia Roberts in it, so you know, why wouldn't you go and see that film? She's the best. But I'm excited to read this one finally, and it's not a big book, so I think I'll be able to get through it relatively quickly. And if I go and see the movie when it comes out or roundabouts, I'll be encouraged to really get on to reading it, I think before the 7th of November, so fingers crossed. The next book on my TBR is the most random choice, and that one is The Stars Are Legion by Cameron Hurley. The reason this one's on my TBR is because it is a library borrow, and I borrowed it like 2 months ago, and I'm coming up to the last time I can renew it before I have to turn it back. And the reason I had this one is because it was originally going to be one of the books we picked for the book of the month for my book club, The Squabbling Dragons, and things happened and I ended up ordering it, and then I felt bad about putting it back, and then I thought, oh, I'll just read it. Point is, I have this book and it has to go back to the library soon, so I'm hoping to get around to it and have a read through it, and yeah, that's why it's on my TBR. Following on from that, I'm then planning on starting Ink Death by Cornelia Funk. It is my goal for this year to finally have this series read. This series, if you are unfamiliar with the backstory, has been on my TBR for 10 years. That is no exaggeration. 10 years ago, I put down Inkspell halfway through, back when I was 11 years old, and I did not pick it back up again. So finally I have reread Inkheart, and I'm about to finish reading Inkspell, and I want to finish this one off. So I'm really hoping that I will get around to this one. I'm not worried if I don't finish this one in November. I'm happy for it to roll over to December. That seems to be the way I've been reading it, but I'm going to at least start reading it so that I can finally have said that I have finished the Inkworld series. So yes, this one will then hopefully squeeze in to start being read around that time. At this point, we'll be coming up to the 18th of November if my scheduling is correct, and that is the beginning of the TBR Takedown Readathon, which is a 5-day readathon happening from the 18th to the 22nd of November. I've never done this one before, but I thought I could do with throwing in a readathon because A, it gives me a reason to get the books done in the start of the month before the readathon happens, and B, it sort of gives me a kick up the butt to get some reading done. I really feel like whenever I have a readathon, if I have no good reason to continue reading after the readathon, I don't read for several days, as what is happening right now, so I'm eager to try and maybe do one readathon a month. If you've been here for a while, you know that I usually vlog all of my readathons. I haven't decided yet if I am going to vlog the TBR Takedown. I don't know what I'm going to be doing, and I don't know if I feel like vlogging. I do enjoy it, but it's kind of a little bit like the idea of doing it just off the back of having filmed an entire week is like... So I'll see on that one. It'll probably be more of a spontaneous decision if I do or not, but at the moment I'm thinking I probably won't vlog it. So, on to the TBR for my TBR Takedown. We have the first book being Terrier by Becca Cooper. Now there are reading challenges in this readathon, and I'm not going to try and do all of them. I've just picked books that are kind of inspired by some of them, and this will be completing the challenge to read the oldest book on my TBR. This one has also been on my TBR for 10 years. 2017 is the year of getting onto that bookshelf. I'm kind of excited. I don't know what to expect from this book, and because it's been on my shelf for so long now, it's hard to get super excited about it, but I have got this one signed. Look at that, Maura Pierce has signed my copy. I'm hoping it'll be good. It is kind of a big book. It's 540-ish pages, which is totally doable. I know I can read that, but we're going to start the week with doing that, and if I get nothing else done in that readathon but this book, I will consider it a success. I have only picked 3 books for this readathon, by the way. The next book that I'll be reading is Updraft by Fran Wilde. The reason I picked this one is because this one will be completing the challenge of to read a book that starts off a series, and the reason I picked this one is because it is the November book club pick of the month for the Squabbling Dragons. Our book club reads start on the 17th of November, so I'm going to pick this one up first on the 18th. I'll start reading a day late. Our reading month goes from the 17th to the 16th of the month, so it's kind of divided over that. So I've got a whole month to get through this. I don't have to start reading on the 17th, but I am going to incorporate it in on that time because my co-creator of the book club and I do buddy reads, and we buddy read these books together, so I won't let you down, Casey, I won't let you down. But yes, this one sounds fantastic. Don't ask me to describe the book because I can never remember, but it has pretty colour. The last book for the TBR Takedown that I'll be reading is The Nearest Faraway Place by Hayley Long. I received this one a few weeks ago for review, and obviously I need to get around to those books, so this will be ticking off the challenge to read like your latest haul. It's not technically my latest buy, but I do want to get around to it, and it's a nice size for a readathon. So I'm thinking that if I do get through Terrier and if I do get through Updraft within those 5 days, then this would be a good one to tack on to the end. So the 22nd is a Wednesday, and that's when the TBR Takedown finishes. So that means from the Thursday following through to like the next week, I have all that time to do some reading. So I have another 3 books that I'm going to try and get to. The first one is another book for review, and that is Wolf Children by Paul Dowswell. This one I'm super excited for. It is set in post-World War II Germany and follows children as they kind of go along trying to survive that setting. I'm super excited for it. Again, a nice small book, so I think I'll definitely get to this one. At least I very much so hope that I do. The last book that I should probably be realistically expecting to get to, unless I really stay on track with things, is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. I'm so excited for this book, and I really want to try and make sure it gets onto my TBR for the month. This one is a fantasy novel, and it's about a girl who is taken by a witch from one village to another because of circumstances, and she is nourished on moonlight, and that means she has magical powers, and there is a small dragon in it, so I'm very excited to read this book. I'm hoping that this will, you know, finish November off with a bang and get me ready for December. However, if I magically am reading like a beast and I get through 10 books, I will then be picking up Clariel by Garth Nix. Recently I asked you guys over on Instagram whether you thought I could read this without reading like the proper series, and I have never really looked into it. I knew that I bought this one because I adored the cover, and I know that it's high fantasy. I know that Garth Nix is like a revered fantasy author, and considering how much I love Terry Brooks, I thought, yeah, let's get this book. I had no idea it was like the 4th installment to the whatever the series is called. This book has been on my shelf for a good couple of years now, probably like 3 or 4. And you guys all told me on Instagram that this is actually a prequel and it's probably even better to start with this one, and you were raving and raving and raving about how good this book was. So I've decided that if I can get through all my other books on my TBR, I am going to finally pick up Clariel, and you have no idea how excited I am because I thought this was going to be a dud book on my bookshelf until I bought and read the other 3 books. But I'm thrilled that I now feel okay to read this one. If I don't get to it in November, I will more than likely roll it on to December. These are all the books that are going to be on my November TBR for 2017. I'm really excited for all of them. I have a pretty good feeling that I'm going to get around to quite a few of them, or at the very least I think these are all going to be really good reads. Let me know down below what you're planning on reading in November, or whether you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. I would love to hear from you. But other than that, I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!